You know,
Okay, good.
so that's what got me into it, and I was like,
Stop. Go home. Sorry.
You're talking to
Crazy. Alexa, go home.
who?
Sorry.
Oh, Alexa. Okay, we're like, what? Okay. Sorry about
Alexa,
that,
put
Ari.
the music
it's
off.
okay, it's
We
okay,
are
Sorry.
live. We are live. I'm like, who?
okay, it's okay.
Alexa.
You gotta break some eggs before the
There.
make omelet, right?
Okay, so Ari, you're saying that you wanted to help people and you were
Yeah, I
talking.
mean, like I feel like I just had a draw to it, something that like I was good at, naturally. I was used to be in sales before, and
Mhm,
I could be that salesman that could sell anything.
mhm.
And when I got sober, I'm like, I still have that ability. I still could talk to people, and you know, people just need to be heard. So
Okay.
that kind of drove me in that direction.
Okay. So let's go back. You said that you were married before and then you eventually got divorced.
Mhm.
And you said you got divorced after you got sober, right? Wow.
So let me go back to I got married super young.
Okay.
I think I was 22 when I got married.
Super
Uh,
young.
and we had, but I felt like I was missing out on something. So I love to drink, and my wife got when we after we had our first kid, I started creating a double life for myself.
Mhm.
But, like, she had postpartum, she was home with her baby with the babies and all that stuff. And my parents took the baby, so I was home alone. I don't like being alone. So I go out drinking every night, pretty much. And what happened was is that it got to the point where at my 30th birthday, I had about 100 people that thought I was divorced with two kids,
Mhm.
you know, and so it was a toxic relationship. Like, we weren't married. I was cheating on my wife constantly, and I was just, I wasn't the person that I should have been.
Okay.
Well,
Did she have
and
any problems with drinking or anything?
no, she doesn't have any pressions, and she's got other issues that that's her problem to deal with.
Mhm.
But but yeah, when I was able to, you know, come to and got arrested, had a couple DUIs, and
Oh, dang.
there was like, like, I gotta do something about this.
Mhm.
So there we tried couples counseling while I was in treatment, and about a year after I got out of treatment, we were still like
Oh,
trying and trying, and then we looked at each other like this is just not good anymore. Like,
oh,
let's just
man.
stop.
Mhm.
So my divorce was nasty. I had a very nasty divorce.
Mm.
No money or anything like that, because I'm besides being an alcoholic, I'm also a compulsive gambler.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there is no money, no house, no nothing. Um, but there was and I'm Jewish, so the Jewish divorce, the man has to give it to the woman. That's just the Jewish, according to Jewish law.
Mm.
And, and I wanted so a lot of people, what they do is some people do is like they hold it for money or whatever, so they can have an edge over the woman. I was holding my divorce with Jewish divorce because I wanted custody finalized with my kids.
Mhm.
There was no money involved or anything, but the whole community turned on me.
Mm.
They were like, they were going to excommunicate me. They were going to like protest it from my parents' house in front of the job I was working at the time.
Wow.
And so it came to end, and I gave her the divorce, and
Mm. That's
it,
interesting. So we learned something about the Jewish community today.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they'll turn all on you. I was like,
No, because in the Jewish religion, it's also like, if I don't get, she can't be with anybody else.
yeah. No, I didn't take it as be a bad way. I
No,
see
no.
they're just looking after their people. I
Yeah,
get it for protection for her as well. I see.
yeah.
But no, I never heard that before. So that's interesting.
Yeah, me neither. Very interesting.
So you said that you eventually went to a recovery treatment. How did you find out about this recovery treatment?
Um, so I was seeing a therapist, and my dad called him and he said, what are we gonna do? Because I had at that point when I was ready to check into jail, I had 2 DUIs. I was facing a little bit of some jail time, and I wanted to just I needed help, so I called my therapist. My dad called my therapist, and he gave us two locations, two different treatment centers,
Mhm.
and I ended up at Bechuva in Culver City,
Okay.
the Jewish rehab. So
I've never been to rehab, so how is that process? How long do you have to stay there? Is it like short term or is it like an ongoing process?
the answer is yes to all. There's
Okay.
addiction. There's different things. So the way it works is there's detox. So I wasn't to the point where like I was having the shades and I needed medical detox.
Okay.
I was able to function and like I didn't need to go detox or anything like that. But the way it works is there's detox and then there's residential. After you detox off the drugs for 7 days,
Okay.
you go to you stay in the same place and you go to residential where get your feet
Mhm.
back under your feet and being able to go ahead and get ready to go out. And then once you get out, then you go to IOP, which is outpatient.
Okay.
Mhm.
And I was there, like, so there are different detox and res, there's different ones. Some detoxes are 30 days. The place I went there for a year, basically.
Okay. So were you living there then, or is it just somewhere you go from day to
Yeah.
day?
I was living there,
Okay.
the residential where I'm there. And then once after like 90 days, they allowed me to go to work and I was able to save money and stay in their sober living, which was attached. And that was able to give me go ahead that was able to like pay rent, learn how to because
Oh,
once you get sober, you know, the tools that everybody uses on a daily basis, we don't have. That was my experience. Like I didn't know how to open up a checking account. I didn't know how to fold laundry. I was just like kind of like going through the motions and like,
Oh, wow.
you know, living in when I was out there drinking, I was living in like a disgusting house and like, like not cleaning it and not like, oh, I don't have any laundry. Oh, let me go to the store and buy some more underwear type of thing.
No, I get it because I've seen a lot of dysfunctional alcoholics. They don't take care of their regular day-to-day tasks.
um, I have a question.
Yes.
How did you feel when you were an outpatient? How did you feel coming out? Did you feel you were ready, or did you feel you needed to stay longer? How was
I
it you first coming out?
Well, the one thing and this is like when I left, I didn't go to outpatient.
Oh,
I
okay,
spent a
sorry.
year inpatient living there
Okay.
and going to groups on site over there and sleeping at the sober living.
Mhm.
Um, but to answer that question is that I still go back there. I used to go back there a lot more. I don't go back there much now. Like every Friday night, they have services there where you can go and feel like be a part of the community. And that's the one thing I gained when I was there for a year is the sense of community.
Mm.
Yes. Yes.
Because when you're in your addiction, you don't feel like you belong anywhere.
Oh,
Right.
And that's
mm.
part of the reasons why you're drinking or whatever your addiction is. You're feeding into your addiction is to fit in.
Mhm.
Mm.
Like I say, like you need that liquid courage to talk to somebody, or like, like, oh, I can't speak to people. I got to drink.
Oh, dang.
So that's what it is. So I had that sense of community, and the place at NoHo where I work now, it's very similar. It is an outpatient, and we have that sense of community. That's what really makes it a place love working at.
So outpatient means that you come there, but you don't live there, right?
Right. So primarily the way outpatient works is either you live at home and you go there for like anywhere from 3 to 6 hours a day, do different
Okay.
groups, see your therapist, see your case manager, and see a psychiatrist also,
Okay.
and then you go home. Or you live in a sober living where you're paying rent there and it's a sober place where you get drug tested and whatnot.
Hmm.
And then you go there and do what you got to do. Then you go to sober living afterwards. So
Okay. Okay. So do you happen to know who created the NoHo Recovery?
I do. His name is Narc Oganian.
Hmm.
Oh,
He's my boss,
Hmm.
and he started it in 2019.
Okay. Do you know why he created it?
He just has a passion to help people.
Okay. Okay.
You know, I've known him for a little bit, and he literally, we don't let people fail at NoHo. He will go above and beyond, sometimes to his own where it's not good for him, but he wants to make sure that you have everything you need to succeed.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's really wonderful. Yeah, we'd love to meet him as well. It's like, yeah.
He does he's kind of like the Wizard of Oz, the man behind the curtain.
Oh,
Okay.
He doesn't want to be seen, but like everybody knows him, and like, but if you were to call him and he needed your help, he'd be there, like, you know.
one.
That,
Yeah.
that's fabulous. So I have a question. I know a lot of family, friends, and even partners sometimes. How do we get them to acknowledge that they have addiction? Because a lot of people are in
Oh,
denial.
that's tough.
I mean, you just answered your own question. You just answered your own question when saying what you're saying is like
Wow.
they have to admit it.
Yeah.
They have to
Oh.
come to terms with it, because you know how many times I'll tell you a story about a friend of mine who I had. She was, me and her were like brother and sister. We got sober, then she left treatment and got her own place. She ended up being homeless in Hollywood.
Mhm.
And I found her, I got her cleaned up. I was going to take her to a detox, and what happened was is that I was in it was at a motel in Hollywood, and I was in my car. I'm like, I'm sorry, I was saying, get in the effing car right now. I'm taking you. She was like, no, I got to go out one more time.
Oh, dear.
And 3 days later, they found her body.
Oh
Oh, God. Oh,
And it was like, I mean, I know one of the questions you asked me, I'm going to just go ahead and
okay.
talk about it. It's like, I've been sober for 14 years. I've known over 50 people that have passed away from
Mm.
this addiction.
mhm.
Yeah,
Like, it's no joke.
yeah,
And
that's a tremendous amount of people that passed away from this addiction.
Yes, me
yeah,
too.
and that's only the people that I know. Like,
Yeah.
like I come in and clients say like, oh, a friend of mine died this week. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, I'm
But
glad you talk about it because I think a lot of people, they don't think that you can actually die from drinking. Like, I don't think they really take it that seriously.
it's not necessarily drinking, it's addiction.
Hmm.
Like like drugs and alcohol is like the go-to, and then you throw in the mental health, stuff. There's that stuff also, but I do a group on legal addictions,
Mm.
like working out. Some people do that too much, working, um, gambling, it's legalized, if you're 21, it's legal. Um, anything could really put you in the grave.
I get it.
Gambling has one of the highest suicide rates of all the addictions out there,
Oh, no.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know,
Oh, no. I'm
and
definitely.
like you don't think about it, like you play a scratcher here and there, fine. But there are people that spend
Mhm.
hundreds of dollars at a 7-Eleven counter.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't keep up with that. I can't afford all those addictions.
No.
I don't have the money for all that stuff.
Right.
So it's not just drinking or doing drugs, it's
Uh,
excessively or gambling is what you're saying.
A lot of things.
It's a lot of things, but you said something, what you just touched on was, you said something that was like excessively.
Okay.
Like I haven't drank in 14 years,
Mm-hmm.
but I still do things alcoholically, like I eat like an alcoholic. I drink soda like an alcoholic. One of these, if I get a case of these, they're gone in like half a day.
Mm. So what do you mean you drink like an alcoholic? Does that they
Yeah.
eat
I
or
drink
drink?
like I drink
It
like
takes,
soda, Snapple, and like stuff like that, regular like just drinks. Like I'll drink a whole big bottle of soda, a big gulp, and like I'll have like two or three in a day.
Okay.
mine is coffee.
Yeah, me too. Like,
You take a place of it.
yeah, it's replacement.
Mm.
That's where you
Oh,
gotta you have
gotcha.
to you have to find the which
You're in that habit.
you gotta
Mm.
find that replacement.
Okay.
You know, and like some people do, like exercise could be a very healthy replacement.
Oh,
But if you're going to the gym like 4 times a day and you're taking steroids, and guess
Oh,
what? Next thing you know, it's like you're out of control. You take that pre-workout stuff. That pre-workout stuff is basically like,
gotcha. Yeah, that makes
yeah,
because I've heard even people like they've had to have like surgeries done or lost body parts because they were drinking like too much sugary drinks and stuff like that, like excessively as well. So I guess what we eat and drink also affects our health too.
yeah,
Mhm. I have a question.
sure.
How is your relationship with your kids, and how old are they now that you're sober?
I have two boys. They're 19 and 22,
Mm.
and I went to treatment, and at 4 months, I was home for the weekend, and I was with my oldest son. Said, "Dad, are you coming home?" I said, "No, I got to come back to be a better dad and go to the talking doctors."
Nice.
Wonderful.
And he cried, and he was sad, and I went back on my I went back to the treatment center. When I celebrated my first year at an AA meeting,
Your second birthday, yeah, they call
when I went at my second birthday, and I had my whole family, my friends were there, and I had like 20 people that wanted to come up and give me a cake and
Ooh,
talk with
it.
me.
Wonderful.
that is
But
wonderful. 20 people, that's a lot of people.
but I told everybody to sit down, and the only one that came up and gave me a cake was my son, my
Oh,
eight at the
Oh,
they're so cute.
and
beautiful.
and at that moment, I was like, I looked up. I was speaking at that meeting also, and I looked up. I was at the podium, and he was sitting right in front of me, and we had that look at each other, that like everything's gonna be okay.
Mhm.
And today, like we have the older it gets, the more trauma that I cause comes up, but we have a relationship today that I never thought we would have, you know.
Oh, good.
And they were both actually on October 7th, they were both in Israel, you know,
Mm.
and I got him out as soon as possible. And
Oh, thank goodness. Yeah, because I
yeah,
think we talked about that briefly. Oh, so
yeah.
they are home now.
Well, one's home, the other one went back.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
His
Okay.
mother, his mother pushed him to go back, so he went back.
Okay.
Not happy about it, but there's nothing I could do. He's 19 years old.
Okay. Well, hopefully he's doing well and safe.
Yeah.
Safe, right?
Mhm.
So
Uh, how can addicts repair relationships that were destroyed due to alcoholism and drugs?
I mean, it's just by doing the next right thing, really.
Okay.
You know, um, I always say this when I speak at meetings. When I came into this, when I came into sobriety, I wasn't a father, a son, or a or a father, son, or a friend.
Hmm.
You know, when I had 90 days, or was it 9 months sober, I was at my mom's house and I was broke. I wasn't working at the time.
Hmm.
And my mom called me and she's like, "Hey, can you go to the store and pick up some food?" I'm like, "I don't have any money." She's like, "I have my credit card. Take my credit card and go to the store and buy it." I'm like, "Hey, can I buy a couple packs of cigarettes also?" She's like, "Sure." Now, that sounds like no big deal, but to me, like 9 months earlier when I was stealing money out of her purse,
Oh, okay.
then she gave me that trust. Today, you
Wow.
know, when they go out, my parents go traveling, I'm the one that watches the house. I'm the one that drives their cars. I'm
Mhm.
the one that
Uh,
with everything. My dad's 70 years old, 75, almost 70. He's gonna be 74 in May.
Okay.
He's got Parkinson's and like dementia setting in, and my mom needed a break, so she went away for vacation. So I moved in with him,
Hmm.
and was able to be able to help him. I get to do these things today. That's amazing.
Okay.
You know, friends, you still like you just the what you got to do is you just got to do the work. That's really all it comes down to. You just got to like right your wrongs. I've made amends to people, and they said, "Hey," that I thought would never talk to me. They're like, "Hey, Ari, I'm just glad you're doing well. Just keep doing what you're doing."
Hmm.
There are people that say like, "Ari, you know what? I don't want to talk to you ever again." That's fine.
Mm. Yeah.
But if I just keep, because if you just keep doing the next right thing, you know what's going to happen. People are going to notice. Like, and I realized that like there's times I was at family functions early in my sobriety, and they're like, "What's different about you?" Are I'm like, "I'm just doing what I got to do," you know.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
So yeah, it's hard. I mean, like relationships and sobriety are really hard, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So,
Oh, well, that's good. I'm glad that you're now at this new point in your life.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
So what I was just curious. You said you used to steal at your mother's purse. Was it just for alcohol, or were you on other drugs too, or is it for gambling?
gambling.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. Like, and it was like nothing. It was like $20 here, $40 here,
Oh, whoa.
always hustling and
Hmm.
trying to find the next because I'm the best gambler ever.
There we
Just like people drive better when they're drinking, is what they always say.
I mean, listen, I listen, there's times I'm so good times when I was drinking and driving that I don't even remember how I did it. I just got there and everything was fine.
Oh, God, no, those dangerous nights.
Yeah.
I,
Um,
I have a question.
Go for it, Delia.
How did your gambling, when did you start gambling? Was it the drinking first or you gambled while you were drinking? What
it
became
was
that second?
it was drinking first. And then when poker got really big, I got into it. Like, we had like home games and
Yeah.
whatever. But I never did the two together. I never gambled drunk.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, goodness.
I never did that because I need to have control and,
Hmm.
the
Yeah.
One of my questions was, do your sons know about your past with addiction? And it sounds like that.
100%. They
Okay.
do. They're very like I remember early on, I love this story. I was with my son and we were trying to go roller skating and we didn't end up something happened, whatever. And I was listening to music in my car, and that song by Lil Jon, shots, 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 shots. He's going,
Yeah.
Dad, is that a trigger for you?
Oh, yeah. The one I want.
But
Yeah.
I said, no, it's not. But that's like,
All right.
son is very like, and I have 14 years of not drinking, but my gambling's kind of been like, I have 130 days today, actually.
Okay, so
Okay.
that's still fresh. That's still new.
Fresh, yeah. I've had 5 years at a time, and then I this, and I lied to everybody about it,
Hmm.
and so I'm back doing it differently this time.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Um, by your sons knowing that you battled with addiction, do you think that helps them to remain strong when they're like confronted with drugs or alcohol? Because they're in their sound like teenagers, right? Or young adults.
Young adult.
Young adults, I mean, they're 19 and 22,
Uh-huh.
which makes me feel old saying that. But um they're aware of it. I think they always have that. I've given them an open book for me. Like they know everything about my addiction, they know everything about that. And
Okay.
I told them if you ever need to talk to me about anything, I'm always here for you. I won't judge you. I may be angry, but I won't judge you.
Okay.
So I create that safe place for them so they have that understanding of it. Have they dabbled? Has my son called me one time? He was smoking when he was in school in New York. He's like, Dad, I want to go to rehab. I'm like, why? What are you doing? Heroin? He's like, no, I'm smoking weed. I'm like, okay. Do you want to go to rehab to get away from all the problems and crap that you created?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know their moves, like whatever they say, I created, They're like, Dad, I'm gonna do this, and this, and then they're like, oh, and then you're gonna do this, and this. He's like, how do you know? I'm like, come on.
Mm-hmm.
So I just keep it open with them. So if they ever do, I'm here for them.
Okay.
I don't tell them not to smoke weed or do anything like I'm like saying don't slam heroin or fentanyl in your neck,
Mhm.
but like go out, have fun, have your experiences, and if you ever need me, I'm here, and I'll never not pick up the phone for you guys.
Okay.
So
That's one.
What helps you to remain sober?
another day. You know, it's really, I've been working in this industry for about 14 years, and I just see miracles on a daily basis, you know.
Mm.
My my landlord about 6 years ago, she was on Facebook Live saying how she just got raped and she wants to
Oh,
kill herself.
oh gosh.
So I
Goodness.
called her father. I said, whatever money you can scrape together. I'm taking your daughter to detox. Threw
Mm.
her in the car, drove her all the way out to, I was in LA, drove her all the way out to Agoura Hills,
Wow. I know where that is. That's far. Hmm.
and drove her there, dropped off at detox, and she survived.
Thank God.
And when her father saw my father at Costco, her father yelled at the top of his lungs, saying, "Your son's an angel. He saved my daughter's life."
Oh, that's so
So
sweet.
like it's stuff like that. Those are the things I do it for, you know, because I'm not trying to brag about it. It's just something that, like, you know, I'm able to bring joy to my dad
Hmm.
because I keep doing the right thing, you know.
Hmm.
Um, and then, you know, you see these miracles. You see things like there's a guy who I thought was literally would die. I put him on my, like, I knew he was gonna die, and I saw him on Facebook the other day, and he's got like 2 years sober, and he's doing great. He's got a job, you know, like
Hmm. That's
those are
fabulous.
those are things you can't put a price on, you know. Like,
Hmm.
Right.
I don't make as much. I made more money when I was out there in my doing sales than I've made in addiction,
Hmm.
working in this industry. But I can put my head down at night.
Yeah. No, so many people need help. So that's wonderful that you're there to help them and lead them in the right direction and be
Yeah.
supportive to them. Because there's so many people, we live out in California
Oh,
that are dealing with alcoholism and addiction. So
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big problem. I mean, like, let me say, LA is the
Yeah.
sober mecca. Like, there's in LA County, there's about, I think there's 2,500 meetings a week.
25 what? 2,500 what?
AA
Me.
meetings a week.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
yeah, yeah. We're going to touch on that more, and I can see, I can see why it's like that. And we've already asked this question again, but if people are just tuning in, how many people do you know that have died from addiction?
over 50.
Over 50. Okay. So if people are watching, like it's that serious. A lot of people just kind of blow it off, but
I
and
mean, I
if we don't understand why, because I'm not an alcoholic yet, not just like no, I'm not at all.
not yet. You have my number. Call me. Like, you know, if I gotta do an intervention,
I'll
I'll
be
do
your
it.
mentor too. Yeah. Sobriety girl right here.
We'll
I'm
go.
there, Carol.
We'll go together and get her
Yeah,
into
I
detail.
love her. I'm there for you. Hey,
I said,
24 hours.
what was the freaking question? What was I gonna ask? What
You were talking about.
what was I asking you guys?
You were asking about how many people died from this.
Okay. How many people that you know? Okay, we were asking how many people that we know that have died from addiction.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. How do we die from alcohol and addiction? What does it do to our body? Because I don't think some people really realize like what it can do. Like we hear like, oh, drinking's bad for you, but what does it do to your body that it actually can kill you?
I mean, here's you want to go ahead.
No, you go for you go. It's your interview.
Um, I mean, I mean, let's go down to different drugs. I mean, the
Yeah.
different things. When it comes to alcoholism, your liver cirrhosis, you know, it's kidney failure, it's pretty much everything. The
Mhm.
problem is, where most of the people that I know that have passed away is that they get sober for a little bit, and then when they relapse, the drugs on the street are not the drugs. I don't know. I'm 46 years old.
I'm
The
40.
weed I got when I was growing up is not the weed now. You know, it's like a lot stronger. And then there's fentanyl. So someone gets sober. Let's say they're doing a gram of heroin a day, right?
Mhm.
They get sober for a year. They say, "Oh, I could do going back to a gram." Your body can't take that, and that's how they overdose. You know,
Oh, because your body's not used to it.
body's not
Body
used to it.
Oh my God.
pain.
You know, and like with when it comes to like like I said, when I talked about the legal addictions, you know, you have like working out. If you do too many steroids or whatever, you could
Oh.
Yeah.
fail, you know, like or have a heart attack.
Mm.
If you do anything in excess,
Yes.
that's what will take you out. I've had 4 eye surgeries since COVID, you know.
Mm.
And I've done fentanyl. They gave me fentanyl and Norcos and this, and all my friends are like, "You're a junkie." I'm like, "No, I'm not. I took it as prescribed."
Okay.
Because there are things like you could take the like if you're in pain and you have a disease. Like I have a friend of mine who has lupus. You know, she's been sober for a while, but she takes methadone, and some people won't say that's sober, but like if you take it as prescribed, it's okay.
Okay.
I'm not saying don't go out and get a prescription for fentanyl and try it just for shits and giggles, you know.
No. No.
But at the same time, it's like it's learning where it's about setting boundaries with you.
Balance.
Yeah, because we have a friend, a mutual friend, and he said he used to drink and then he stopped drinking for like 25 years, and now he's dying because of what happened in the past. So even though you stop, sometimes it'll still destroy you in the long run.
Listen, I mean, I'm diabetic also. Besides being an alcoholic, I've been diabetic since 1990.
Hmm.
So, I've almost died in sobriety. You know, my blood sugar was 1200 at one point because I wasn't taking care of myself.
Ooh.
Oh, dang. Okay.
And, I have issues like, I have a lot of like my kidney is failing right now.
Hmm.
You know, I'm in kidney failure
Hmm.
because of what I did to myself there. I haven't drank in 14 years, but still, sometimes you got you got to deal with the consequences. And
Long,
dealing with the consequences. Sorry, go ahead.
so it's like long-term consequences sometimes then, and still affects you years later, huh?
But that's the thing is like when you're sober and you don't have your addiction that you're dealing with, you don't have the alcohol, you don't have the gambling, you don't have the mental health or whatever, and all that's under control. You get to deal with it. When
Hmm.
I found out my kidney failure, I was in kidney failure. It hasn't really gotten worse in 5 years because I've taken the actions to do things that have
Oh,
made it,
good.
so.
Hmm.
And that's why I have 2 kids, so I could take their kidneys.
Oh, the kids come in and use them for some reason.
They're like, Dad, I'm like, no, you're gonna give me your kidney. I had to put up with you all these years. You're giving me your kidney.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you got to help us. Um, is there large amounts of people who overcome addictions?
Listen, you'd be the surprised who gets sober. I remember one time when I was working, I was about a year sober, and I was working at an insurance company, and I was calling the banks to check on the insurance, make sure it's good with the loans.
Hmm.
And this girl I talked to all the time, and she was like really good at getting things done. And she's like, "Hey, Friday night, what are you gonna do? Go out and drink?" Like, "Oh no, sorry, I don't drink."
Uh-huh.
And she's like, "I don't drink either." Like, "Are you sober?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I found out she's sober.
Hmm. Hmm.
So like we had that connection, and it was just like a lot of people are, and more people you think are.
Right.
I mean, I'll tell you this, and it's not breaking anonymity because he talks about it, but one of the first, I went to an AA meeting one day, and I look up, and I'm at the meeting. I look up, and it's like Anthony Hopkins is speaking right there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because he
That's
talks.
amazing.
He's very
Big
open about it. The only reason I say that is because he's very open about it publicly about it.
one.
Like he's got like 30 something years,
Mhm.
Mhm.
just like a regular person. Like
Wow.
listen, if you want to get better, you can.
Okay.
Right.
You can't do it alone.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's where so many people fail. Like,
Mm.
like people say, the 3 most dangerous words any addict can say is "I got this,"
Okay. Gotcha.
Right.
Okay. That's good to know.
because you can't go at it alone. I mean, Because when you're an addict, a lot of things you could do is one thing you're really good at is co-signing your own crap.
Mm, I
You
bet.
know?
Oh, like I bet. It sounds like
No,
Um,
no, 100%. It's like I
yeah.
could realize anything to get it done, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's totally fine to like go out and spend X amount of dollars when they only have X amount of dollars.
Yeah.
Or it's okay to go drive all the way to San Bernardino to play in a card game
Wow.
when you have like no gas in your car, no money. It's like, you know,
Does it make sense
it makes 100% sense.
to them.
to them? Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cosign, so you said.
I have a question. What does one day at a time mean to you? And you know that phrase, being an alcoholic, we all, and it means different things, to individual alcoholics, mine might be different than yours. What does that mean to you?
What that means to me is I take it down a notch. I don't go one day at a time, I go 1 second at a time.
Okay.
And when I think about that is whenever I need to go to that one day at a time mentality,
Yeah.
I just look at my feet because that's where I'm at.
Oh, okay.
You
Very
know,
good.
because
Very,
I can't, I mean, like, I can't do anything about the past. I can't do anything in the future. All I have is,
right.
right now, you know.
Well,
That's why I say 1 second at a time, you know.
okay.
Mm.
Very good.
Mhm.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Are some people more prone to addictions than others?
I think so. I don't think you're born with it. People say you are.
Mhm.
Because I don't think I've seen a baby being born with a heroin needle in there.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
You know, I haven't seen a baby born where they have a bottle of vodka instead of a bottle of milk, you know.
Yeah.
I
Right.
I think what addict my thought on addiction is that people use it to hide,
Mm.
to numb out. So, I mean, if you have, listen, I have friends of mine that came from really bad, like born in crack houses and whorehouses. Like I had a friend of mine who grew up in a whorehouse,
Mhm.
you know, and he got sober and he's about it. And I have people that live in group of billion-dollar thing, you know, and they just don't get it, you know.
Mm.
It doesn't. I think it's just a matter of if you have if you have, I don't know how to say this. You have to have the will to want it. But it's also is if your parents are a big part of addiction.
Mm. I
Parents
believe
cause
it.
a lot of addiction, problems,
Mhm.
especially nowadays because what they do is that they'll send like if I catch my son, let's say for now I catch my son smoking weed, I'm like, oh, you're going to rehab, you're going to detox. You don't need to go to detox to get off weed. You just need to like eat something and go to sleep. That's it, you know.
Uh-huh.
But when they go there, they learn about because of some of the stories you hear
Mhm.
about people on heroin and cocaine and meth sound real fun. I'm
Mm.
not gonna lie.
Mhm.
Being up for 5 days drinking, it's like, yeah, I feel, but it's just I think you're not born with it. I think you might be prone to it because you're just not given the proper tools.
Mm.
Sometimes like people grow up in families like there's two Jewish holidays where you're supposed to get insanely drunk.
Okay.
Really?
It says it in Jewish law. On those days, you have to get to the point where you can't know the difference between good and bad at drinking wine.
Mm. Okay.
So, and so yeah, I think it's just a matter of finding a way to cope with it.
Uh,
And
Did you
alcohol,
did you come from a family who had addiction, like your parents, or this was just you on your own?
it was just me. I mean, my grandfather when they were living in Uruguay, my grandfather was always a gambler.
Okay.
Oh,
You know,
Okay.
but he came from a different place. He escaped World War II. So every day to him was a blessing. So he's like, I don't care. Let's just, he had that mentality, but he did have a gambling problem. Sorry.
Okay. Okay. Is insomnia a sign of addiction?
100%.
Okay. And why is it? Why are they staying up? Is it doing something in their body or what's going on?
I think it's something in your body. I think there's a chemical imbalance also, but I think it's FOMO, really.
It's what?
FOMO, fear of missing out.
A fear of missing out. Okay.
No, because I think that's something like as addicts, at least when I was in my addiction, I just wanted to be a part of something.
Mm.
And if I don't stay up, if I fall asleep, I'm gonna miss something.
Wow.
You know, that happened at the bar, and then I left. Damn it, like
Mm.
I need to feel connected. I need to feel a part of something.
Okay.
So I'm about figuring out ways like, okay, fine. I got home today. So how do I figure a way to, for me, it was like, how do I lie to my wife to get her to stay at her parents' house so I could have the house to myself, like all these things, like
Ah,
you're always plotting. And like, I
uh-huh.
was living a double life to the point where it's like living a double life, it ain't easy.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of
Yeah.
work.
It was, and it was just like, and the reason I did it was just out of sheer boredom
Mm.
and not feeling comfortable with myself.
Dahlia said the same thing because she's been sober for what, 16 years?
16 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because
Going on 7 years.
yeah, so she said the same thing because I always find it, I never imagined women being alcoholics as well. But now that I'm older, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many women who are alcoholics. And she said a lot of women drink because they're bored too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are you guys bored of? It's like, do you guys need activities to do, or is it going back to again, you want to be surrounded by other people or talking to other people? Why do you guys feel so bored?
I don't know. You want to answer that or me?
You go first, I'll go after.
For me, it was okay. I was a high functioning alcoholic. And I would do everything the day, clean, wash, take the kids to school, get up early, go pick them up around 3. And, and in that time, as Fridays come, I'm like, okay, I don't have to do nothing. There's everything done. And then your mind goes, shoot, I don't have to get up early tomorrow. Hey, you get bored. I found a way of having fun.
Mm.
I was a single mom raising 2 kids, and I wanted to go have fun. I wanted to, as alcoholics do, we want to, pat ourselves on the back.
Mm.
Oh my God, you do so much. Yeah, you deserve to have fun.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? We look at anything just to celebrate anything.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, you basically took the word
Right.
right out of my mouth because it's pretty much that's what it is.
Yeah.
It was also, I'm going to add to it by saying it's like one thing about me was when I was diagnosed with diabetes, it was a day before I turned 13.
Oh, that's so young.
Very young, and I
Yeah.
realized after there
Wow.
was a lot of trauma there.
Yeah.
What my first addiction truly was self-pity.
Mm.
Because here I am, poor Ari, poor Ari. I was just focused, everybody focused on me. I was at Cedar Sinai and they were getting me t-shirts from the Hard Rock Cafe, the nurses and doctors. I got like 2 Game Boys and 50 different games and all these things. And I was like, I was the center of attention. And
Gotcha.
that's what I always wanted because I never felt like I belonged. I never felt connected to anything.
That is so interesting, and the people that I do know that are alcoholics. Well, some of them, a couple of them, they do. I think they have issues with communicating with other people. So I know a couple of people like that. Like they're very introverted. Not all of them. One isn't, but I know 2 people who are
I
introverted.
have a problem.
Say that again.
I don't have a problem communicating with people.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I guess everybody's different, but I have seen 2 people that are
Everybody.
introverted, and they definitely are alcoholics.
I mean, I strike up conversations with people that are in lift cars,
I wonder who.
Ooh. Mm.
And they talk back. No, just
I talk back and then I'm on a
They
Zoom
throw you
call.
on the show.
Oh,
I'm talking about double lives, you guys.
Right?
Triple lives.
yeah.
Um, how can we identify who is dealing with depression and how can we help them? Like, what have you noticed are signs of depression?
I mean, just not lack of connection. Like I've said it a lot today, but
Uh-huh.
it's really just a lot lack of connection. And it's also like what I just talked about is like not being a part of, feeling
Mm.
different, feeling ashamed or something.
Mm.
Hold it in, when you hold stuff in, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good at all.
Okay. Okay.
Because the more you hold it in, the more in I'm gonna go a little in the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, there's a 10th step at the end of the night, you take an inventory of yourself and kind of just go through it, right?
Mm-hmm.
My sponsor told me that if I do my 10th step at the end of the night, I'm gonna relapse. And when I asked him why, he said because if you wake up at 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock, gets something's messing with you and you don't want to deal with it and you wait till the end of the night, you give it all that time to ferment and build up and drive it to the point where you're like, I can't take this anymore. I'm done. I'm gonna go drink or go to back to my addiction.
Yeah, because it's easier, right?
Yeah. So yeah,
Okay. How can we help people who are depressed?
just be there. Listen.
Okay.
A lot of people just want to be heard.
Okay.
That's one thing I learned in sales. The guy that taught me sales, he said, the less talking you do, the more successful you'll be.
Mm. Okay.
If you listen, you know what people are at and you know what to talk to them about. Because I could have somebody sitting in front of me and I could talk to them, but if I don't hear what they're saying, I'm gonna miss out.
That's so true. Put our listening ears on.
Yeah.
Where does the NoHo Recovery find their mentors at?
When you say mentors like staff, you mean?
Um, don't you guys have mentors there? Yeah, I
I
guess
mean,
staff.
yeah. So the way and know what we have is it's our sense of we have a community. We're community based, but we hire people based on their if they've worked in recovery before. Like where the clients can relate to them.
Mhm.
Like if I have somebody, if I'm a client and I see somebody who's never touched drugs or alcohol and has no problem with addiction, I'm not going to open up to them as much as somebody who's been in
Right.
the trenches and a lot of times is we get a lot of alumni that works for us, where they've gotten their stuff together. We have right now the other program manager at NoHo is an alumni. The CEO who runs the day-to-day operations, he's an alumni, you know? So it's just a matter of like you have to have people that are not willing to bend their morals for anything.
Okay.
Because there's a very big dark side to this industry and it's really sad and scary.
Mm.
Mhm.
And I've been working in this industry for a very long time to the point where I can see the ones that are not going to last and to see the ones like I don't want to deal with you guys. You guys are doing not good stuff.
Gotcha.
So if you're on the same level, if you put it out there to help people, that's what we want. That's the type of people we want working at NoHo.
Okay.
In my office, I tell the clients my office is always open. My phone, I have two phones and I hate it, but like the clients have my phone and they call me all the time and like, hey, I need to talk. I'm like, what? Let's go. What's up?
Okay.
You know,
I think it's good for both of you guys.
it depends what time they call me at.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're like I like some sleep sometimes too.
I got like a call at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, "Are you okay? Are you alive?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm just struggling." I'm like, "Struggling for 3 more hours. I got to go back to sleep." Bye." You know,
Poor thing. Oh, what services does NoHo Recovery offer?
So NoHo Recovery, we do things different. We're not your typical IOP.
Mhm.
So we offer the usual group therapy, individual therapy, case management, psychotherapy. But we also have we have a studio on site. I saw you
Oh,
mentioned
yeah.
Yeah, I was checking out the
studio.
studio. You guys got a lot of cool activities there.
Yeah, so we do that. So the studio is not necessarily meant for everybody thinks they're a rapper nowadays, but we also teach them the other end of it, the auto engineering part of it. So if they get in the studio and someone says I love your effort, but go check out the audio engineering part of it, they could do that. We also have a merchandising program in our building that makes shirts like this.
Oh, I
Sorry.
seen some of the shirts. I did go on to the online
Oh.
shop.
Yeah, so we have that. That's run by our alumni. We're in talks right now to set up a trade program to teach the clients how to do car wrapping and
Oh
window.
my God, I need that. Put me on
Wonder.
the list.
But our
Thank-
goal, our goal at NoHo is we want to be able. The famous saying is, if you feed a guy a fish, he'll eat for a day. But if you teach him how to fish, he'll never go hungry.
Yeah, I
Right.
think that's great. You need to have all those skills, make money. If one thing doesn't work, make some money.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
We want to get our clients back into society. Right now we have about 5 clients that are back in college that
Oh,
never thought
wonderful.
college,
Hmm.
We have one
That's
client
wonderful.
who just went through the Department of Rehab and has a forklift license, and
Oh,
and one's going to be a pilot, the other one's getting their real estate license through the Department of Rehab. We want the clients back out there because you can sit there and go to groups and learn how to do the groups and say what you need to say and do the A stuff, and fine, but
Yeah.
you gotta learn how to put those things to work. And
Right.
that's what differentiates us from other places.
no, that's fabulous because if they have that many skills and great skills, it sounds like it. Yeah, they should be out there using their different gifts.
Yeah.
Like they say, what idle's time is the devil's time.
Isn't that
Idle's mind, devil's time. They
true?
got constantly got to keep busy.
Mhm.
Yeah. 100%. And
Yeah.
just keep and but it's also we also have the clients we want to have fun and sobriety.
Right. Mhm.
Like every Friday we go in and out and we take the clients to last week we took them to Ultrazone to do laser tag and stuff like that. Just let them have some fun.
Oh,
That's
We
fun.
take them on hikes. We
Good
have
exercise.
every holiday, Thanksgiving, we had a huge spread at one of the sober livings, and everybody came
uh,
over. We just want to make sure that
Sandra.
Making me hungry.
but these are things we just want them to live life and know that they can live life without drugs and alcohol.
Hmm. Yeah,
Another side
and then
of
if
life.
they have a career, I mean, that way they don't have to. A lot of people probably go to drugs and stuff because they can't survive or they don't have a decent job.
It's something in there. It's something.
It's
So,
something, yeah, it's something not right, and
Right.
if you want to figure it out, you can figure it out. Listen,
Right.
I tell my clients like this. I said, listen, when you were out on the streets hustling, you did whatever. If I told you you're in LA and you got to go to San Bernardino to pick up the best fucking heroin. Sorry, I didn't mean to curse, but
oh no, this is the divorce party planner show.
okay, because I've been holding back a lot. So fuck
Oh
shit.
no, don't. This is a divorce party planner show. I don't think they hold back very much.
So if you go, I tell them if they would drive all the way to San Bernardino, pick up that heroin, come back with a car with one wheel on it, and figure a way to get it, they do that.
Mhm.
Ask to go to a meeting, they're like, oh, I can't.
Oh, thank you. Good point.
Yeah.
Amen. Amen.
I was secretary. I used to go to a meeting, and I was secretary of the meeting that started at 11 o'clock at night on a Monday night.
Ooh, that's
And I
like.
did that for a year.
Hmm.
And when I go to people at meetings, I see people like, "Hey, do you want to speak at a meeting?" And he's like, "Sure." 11 o'clock on a Monday night, they're like, "Oh no, I can't." I'm like, "You drank at 11 o'clock on a Monday. You're speaking."
Yeah. Uh-huh. Jeez. Yes. I can't believe it's that late, but that's great that it is late. So they have no excuses. You guys are open so many hours.
They
That's
used to have a meeting at 3 o'clock in the morning on the weekends for bartenders, sober bartenders.
wow.
Oh,
Wow. That's a hard job to do to stay up to support them. But it's
You
great
know,
that someone that is a tough job though to be up that late.
listen, if I owned a bar, I would only hire sober people to bartend. They don't drink my profits away.
No, seriously, I watched those TV shows where they're helping businesses and some of the owners were like just drinking. I'm like, there goes all your money. It's just going down the drain. What are we in business for if it's just going down the drain?
Exactly.
Is that all their different services then? Did we touch on all them?
I mean, we offer housing.
Oh,
My
good.
the owner has about 4 different sober livings that he owns outright, so clients stay there, you
Oh,
know,
okay.
for accommodation.
how about nutrition? You guys have nutrition there too, right? To
That's a
eat
good question.
right,
We do, but most of the clients don't take advantage of it, and we can't like push it on them.
Mhm.
right? But that's important too.
If they want to, 100% will do that,
Right.
you know.
That's a
But
good question.
you know, like we order like we feed them for lunches. And if we want to get like healthy food for lunches, it costs a grip. It's like, you know, you can't. So
Mhm.
we get like the Panda Expresses for everybody and the pizza and so on and so forth.
All the
Okay.
good stuff. That's all the good stuff.
Yeah. And that,
I
but
don't know if it's good for calories, but it sure does taste good.
you know what the funny thing is like these clients, we could offer them like, hey, let's like at the night program that I run. That's another thing we offer. We offer the evening program that I run
Uh-huh.
is big for professionals. So if you get out of detox and you need to go back to work 9 to 5, we have a program that goes from 5 to 9.
Okay.
Oh,
So
So
that's the program that Ari's the manager of.
yeah,
Okay.
that's what I do. Yeah.
Okay.
So but yeah, like, and a lot of these clients will say, hey, since it's not that many people, let's order some good food. They're like, oh no, we want Chick-fil-A. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, a lot of
ah,
people like Chick-fil-A. I see those
A
lines
nice
out there.
salad or something like that. They're like, oh, I just want Chick-fil-A and McDonald's, please.
Yeah, yeah.
so good.
When you're hungry, you'll eat anything.
But when it's free to them, they'll eat whatever.
Right?
Right, right.
I pull up too.
I'll save you a plate.
Stella.
I pull up real quick. I'll be like, hey.
Mm,
So, how many hours out of the day are your clients required to stay at your facility? And I think we touched on that a little bit earlier. Because it's a
Uh,
new world for me. I'm like, how many hours are they there? Do they just come in for a short time or what?
so there's different levels of care.
Mhm.
There's PHP, which is partial hospitalization, and I don't know what the last P is for.
Mhm.
But that's so if you're at PHP, it's 6 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Oh, yeah.
So they come like 9 to 3 and do the groups there. And then that's that. And then there's IOP, which is 3 days a week for 6 hours. And that's IOP. And then there's OP, which is once a month. So it depends based on the level of care and how you're progressing through your progress, your treatment plan.
Okay. So some people they're still able to work even though they're part of
100.
this program.
We don't recommend them to work till they get to IOP level.
Okay.
Because our goal is like, we want to get them the most time possible. We want to make sure they're there the longest so they can get like, all the tools they need.
No, I get it. And some of those jobs probably lead people to drugs and alcohol. Well, those
Yeah.
jobs are brutal. I'm like, might be part of the problem.
Yeah, 100%. And we also family therapy as well, if needed, if they want it.
Okay. Um, so when you say family therapy, that means there are other relatives could come in, or is it just them?
100%. We have family, spouses, if they want to come in and do therapy
Wow,
with their family,
that's
we offer.
great. That's great. So what is like if this is my first day checking in, what is the first step at your facility? What is a day like there? Because I think a lot of people probably are scared to go to a recovery center.
So if it's your first day, you come in, you do an intake, sign a whole bunch of papers on the computer and do all that, and then you just go to groups. We have 3 groups that are 3 hours, about an hour and a half each.
Okay.
So, and You go there, and then you go back after a group, you go home. It's really that simple.
Okay.
It's not as scary as people think it is.
Okay. Delia, do you have another question?
Yes, at these facilities, do you guys accept like, insurance?
Yes, we do take insurance. We're private. We don't have to take Medi-Cal or anything like that.
Okay.
We take private insurance or cash pay. But one thing about NoHo is, and I'm not supposed to say this, but I'm going to say it anyways. We have a lot of scholarships.
Oh, good.
Like there's a client that an alumni of ours that was living in North Carolina and wasn't doing too good. So we flew one of our house managers out
Okay.
to pick him up so he wouldn't travel alone.
Hmm.
He wouldn't get on the plane because he had a dog.
Oh, gosh.
So he rented a car and drove it from North Carolina here to get the client there. And
Wow.
the client did not have any insurance.
Okay. Well, that's
So
great. I'm glad to hear that because I think that's another issue because some people probably do
don't
not
have have any money, and they do help them
Yeah,
who don't no insurance, nothing, but they want to get clean.
exactly. I have a lot of people when they say, "Hey, all right, I want to go to detox." I'm like, "Do you have any cash? Do you have any this?" I'm like, I'm not asking to be crazy or anything like, or like being an asshole, but like, I gotta like, if you want to go somewhere, you gotta be able to pay for it. And there's been times where I've asked people like, "Hey, I need you to pull a favor for me."
Mm,
One of the detoxes, I'll call them like, "Hey, I need a favor. This is a good friend of mine. I need him to get clean."
gotcha. Okay.
If you do it, they'll do it.
Like,
That's good to know. So that way they're not like worried that they won't be able to make it in. There's
I
still
mean,
ways.
wonderful.
yeah, there are ways we could work with it, and so yeah.
That's great.
Mhm.
Mm.
So if you are sober, can you remain in a relationship with someone who is not?
Yeah, you know what the selling point is I always tell them they always have a designated driver.
Okay, have a designated driver. Okay.
All right.
Hmm.
I'm currently in a relationship with somebody, and it's been off and on for 4 years, and she's a normal. We call them normies,
No,
but she drinks. She doesn't drink in front of me, but like I've never told her not to, and
okay.
I just real one thing I've learned in recovery is that like I can't control other people.
Hmm.
I can't control what other people would think or say to me. I live it to the point where it's like, you do you, I'll do me, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Okay. So it is possible though.
It's 100% possible.
Okay.
You know,
Do you have any suggestions on how laws should be changed to stop addictions? Is there is
I
there any
don't
law that you'd like to see changed?
what.
Do you have any suggestions on how laws should be changed to stop addictions? Like,
Addiction will stop by laws. An addict's gonna get their fix no matter what. It won't make a difference.
okay.
That's my thought on it. I think what they need to do is they need to make stricter laws on what needs to be done on the insurance end of it. That's what I would
Mm, okay.
like. Make it easier for people to go to treatment, make it
Okay.
easier for them. Open more facilities that are state run instead of spending 20 years fixing Wilshire Boulevard to put a railroad road there that they're never gonna finish.
Hmm.
Take that money and open up a detox for somebody, like
Okay.
overrun with homeless more. It's like because people, that's another thing about addicts when they go to detox and treatment, that they go to a place and it's like it's scary. You go to a place downtown, it's going to be like right off Skid Row and it's
Hmm.
rehab, and it's like when you go to a place in like, I don't know, Hancock Park or something like that, in a decent house, and be treated like more of a person.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that makes sense.
I don't think there's any laws that make a difference. You want to legalize this, you want to legalize that, doesn't really make a difference. I think the fact that they legalized marijuana and this whole California sober thing that's out there is hurting people rather than helping people.
And why do you say that?
Because I think a lot of like, listen, if you need to smoke weed
Uh-huh.
because you have arthritis or you're prescribed by a doctor, that's fine. But don't say, "Oh, I'm smoking weed and I'm not going to stop because at least I'm not doing heroin."
Yeah.
Even though there's something to that, you know,
hmm
I get that, but you can't use it as a crutch forever because once you get rid of, if you start smoking weed, or when you're smoking weed, someone will give you like, here, smoke this weed. It's got fentanyl in it. Guess what? You're dead.
Mm-hmm. True.
And smoking marijuana, weed, whatever you want to call it, it is a drug.
Yeah.
And everybody says,
Yes.
"Oh well, it's herbal. It's from the earth." And the you know what? It's a drug
Yeah.
because there's people I know who cannot function till they smoke the weed in the morning. Like me, I gotta have my coffee, and they don't smoke weed, to get hungry. That's addiction
Yeah. There you go.
all the way.
Yeah.
That's addiction. I don't.
100%.
I tell my sons the same way. It's straight addiction. Stop.
Yeah.
Stop it. I'm a two-time cancer survivor. I didn't even want any weed.
Thank you.
I'm an alcoholic. Why would I want to smoke marijuana?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same thing. It's like people that are in addiction that like get their wisdom teeth. I know people that have gotten their wisdom teeth pulled off and they don't take the Vicodin or the thing.
I'm one of them.
Yeah. I
It's
got 3
so
taken out.
So
Yeah. Okay. So we don't need to stop the sales of alcohol or weed, but
it'll never happen. Listen, if you look at what happened in the 20s
True.
when
Yeah.
they had
prohibition.
like there were speakeasies all over the place. And Bill W., the founder of Alcoholics Anonymous, he got sober during prohibition. He was drinking when there was prohibition.
hmm
There's a will, there's a way.
Okay. Does exercising help the recovery process?
It could, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes I mean like I've had stretches where I've been in the gym like every day and been good. And now there's been a stretch now where I've had gym membership for a year and I never went once. And so I just canceled it.
Yeah. I get it. I go back and forth
But
too.
it, but it, but it does help. I mean, listen, when I have a good workout, when I'm on it for like a good week or so, I do feel better. So yeah, it releases endorphins in your brains and stuff like that.
Okay. So how powerful is media in promoting alcohol and drugs?
Very.
I think, you know what? I'm not gonna lie, there's things I see like there's a lot of stuff that came out recently that I haven't tried when they didn't have when I was drinking.
Mhm.
I was like, maybe,
Mhm.
like a honey bourbon or something like that. Like
Mhm.
that's something I used to like. I'm like, that could be cool,
Mhm.
but listen, I know in one of the questions you asked me about triggers,
Yeah.
and the best line I heard about that, and it's like, triggers are only deadly if you pull them.
Mm. Okay. So if you see them and just don't act on them, basically.
Listen, I'm able to. I thought I was never going to be able to go to a bar to hear a band play or something like that, or go to a club and go dancing, but I do that now. I could do that now.
Okay.
I go there with a purpose, and it's also a pleasant reminder when you go to a club and someone's barfing in the corner. I'm like, haha, that's not going to be me tonight.
Right? You're like, I don't want to be like that.
Or,
Yeah.
and also, it's a lot cheaper to go out when you don't drink.
Right.
Yeah, it's so expensive. It really is.
You
Super
get a good-
expensive.
you could have dinner, and it's like you could have a good dinner. That's one thing. Also, is food is something that I use as a replacement when I
Me too. Me
instead
too.
Mine is sweets.
Oh God.
Yeah.
And I
Okay.
felt I'm just playing.
Pumpkin pie.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Pecan pie. I sell those.
Yeah.
No, just
Okay. I need 12 dozen. No, I'm kidding.
Oh God.
Vanya's sweet tooth.
Oh yes. My mom has one too. So how powerful is media promoting alcohol and drugs? Okay, so it can tempt us a little bit, but
But you, but if you're working, if you're in recovery, which means that if you're doing the work on yourself and you continue to better yourself and you have that community, it's not going to really affect you because you could see something like there's so many times I've called somebody, I've seen something, and I called a friend of mine. I'm like, I need to talk to you for like 2 seconds. Like I'm tripping right now. I saw something and it's like messing me up. What do I got to do?
Mhm. Okay.
And guess what? Because I had that power of people in my life that will call me out on my stuff, on my crap, and that's all I really need.
Okay. Okay. Um, what can we do if we're offered like drugs or alcohol to say no? Like, what can we do? I know we're saying that again. I'm probably like sounds like teenagers, but sometimes it's so easy. You're just in that environment. Like you walk in, and you're being offered a drink. So
One thing that I do as a recovering addict is I play the tape out.
you play the tape out?
Yeah, so I say I relive it in my head.
Okay.
So like for me, it's like, okay, I'm gonna have that drink, right? I'm gonna have another because I can't just have one. I'm gonna have 3 or 4 or 5. I'm gonna get be tipsy. I'm
Right.
gonna go home. I'm not gonna be able to take an Uber. I don't want to take
Right.
it home, you know. And where I end up, I usually end up in jail, dead, or in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And that's for me is enough to say like it ain't worth it, you know.
Oh, so you
Right.
like look at it, you kind of like envision what will happen or how the night can end.
And like one thing I did is on my credit card, I have a picture of my 2 sons on my credit card.
Oh,
Oh, that's so smart.
So that's something like I can't do really something stupid with that.
yeah.
That's a good idea. That's a good.
Yeah.
Delia uses stuff too. We would go out to eat or something and she'll bring like a bottle of water, right, Delia?
Yeah, I bring water. If they don't have coffee there, then I'll have a soda.
Mhm.
But you to me, it's like when I go somewhere, I always got to have a bottle of water or coffee or something to drink, my own drink,
Right.
just to feel that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's just
Okay. You guys gave us some good tips. What keeps you working in this field?
Like I said, the miracles.
Okay.
Seeing
that's
people,
nice.
it's my sponsor said to me, Ari, that I'm he called me he was always calling me a miracle. I'm like, why do you call me that? It sounds kind of cheesy. Because of all the shit that you've been through, there's no reason you should.
Yeah, that's true.
The fact that you're here living and progressing in life, that's a miracle.
That is true. Because
When I see somebody like take like 60, like take a chip for a certain amount of days or celebrate a birthday or have a baby or like get their jobs back and like find a new career, you can't put a price on that.
that's so true.
Right.
Yeah. I'm always excited for people who are like sober now because I just know I've seen people like on the worst side, living in the
Mm-hmm.
streets, living like in the fields and all kinds of stuff, in and out of in and out of jail and in prison as well. So I'm always happy when I see people like they come out. I'm like, thank God, because that looks so hard to break those habits. And then they could be in a better place and have a better life and better relationships with their family and friends.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so we're going back. Delia, do you have another question or should I jump in with mine?
Um,
Go for it.
I wanted to ask. Yes, I do have one more question. Would you recommend this place where you're working at to like your relatives, your sons, any close friends, like, if they're looking at other places, would you say, well, I have the best place? And let them know why it's different from other ones. which
Yes,
sounds.
yes, I would recommend it. I would, if I needed to, I would send my kid here. I would send my family member there.
Oh, good.
But at the same time, I wouldn't be like, yo, this is the place you gotta go, nowhere else, everything. People gotta have their own experiences. And
Exactly.
they gotta figure out stuff on their own. If they wanna go to a place because their friends over there, fine, let them do that. We'll still be here.
Mhm.
Okay. We live in Los Angeles, so we're going back kind of to this question. How can a person avoid drugs and alcohol when it's offered like everywhere, like at parties and premieres and pool parties and on set?
I mean, again, it goes back to the sense of community. If you're surround yourself by people, my if you surround yourself with people that are like-minded with in your own vision and your own thing, then that shouldn't be a problem. I went, I'll give you an example. When I was 6 months sober, my sister got married.
Mhm.
And my parents, they like to drink. We had two open bars all night, top shelf stuff. I was like, and I was nervous. So
Yeah.
my plus one was my sponsor.
Amen.
My sponsor to the thing, and it's like, don't go at this alone. If
Mhm.
you go out alone, you're gonna be tempted. Even like, Delia, when we have to go take Spice to rehab because she's gonna have a
Okay, right. We have to stop for coffee first.
right. Well, I got you. Don't worry about it. I got the coffee. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
But
America.
okay, got it. But we don't go alone.
Mhm.
Right.
If you
Okay.
go alone, you open yourself up to more. But I always tell my clients when I'm doing group with them, I tell them like your drug of choice is right here in the middle, and everybody's here. Are you gonna go ahead and grab your thing? Maybe yes, but you'd be a little more hesitant. But now, if nobody's around and your drug of choice is right in front of you, you'll go to that real quickly
Mm.
because I get high, I drink, I gamble, I do all this stuff, but we don't. When you're accountable to something else, it doesn't have to be a person per se, but if you hold yourself accountable to something outside of your own self, it
Mhm.
could be your cell phone. If this is what's gonna keep you from drinking by being on your cell phone all day, then do it. If you gotta
Mm.
dress like a chicken and twirl a sign and for taxes, go ahead, do it if that keeps you sober, whatever it is. But you
Okay.
can't go alone. You go out alone, you're doomed for failure.
What do you do if you live in a household where, well, I guess you just talked about that. You have to have, because you said you went to a party and your family drinks a lot too. What if you're living within a household where they drink all the time and you don't want to be an alcoholic or addict anymore, but that's what they do? Should you move out, or is there a way to stay there and still remain sober?
You have to worry about that. One thing when it comes to family, when you're a recovering addict or an alcoholic or whatever it is,
Mhm.
you have to accept them. They do not have to accept you. And there's times where you're gonna do things and it's gonna mess up your family.
Mhm.
Like I remember a story like about 2 years sober. I was at my mom's house and my kids were 8 and 5, and we were getting ready. We were having a whole bunch of family over, so I was giving my kids a shower. They couldn't give them a shower, and I turned the hot water on too high and I burned them.
Oh, okay.
I lost it. I was crying. I was like, they were fine. My mom took them,
Oh,
got them, whatever. They were fine and great, but
something you have to think about, huh?
something I had to think about. So what I had to do was, and mind you, we're having a whole bunch of family come over. And I told my mom, like, I'm leaving. She's like, where are you going?
Mhm.
Like, I have to go to a meeting.
Oh,
And
okay.
she was Peter. She's like, you piece of shit. You just drug addict. Ugh. And fast forward to 14 years later, when I look upset, she's like, get your ass to a meeting. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh.
Okay.
But they have to learn how to accept me. If you are strong-willed and you want to stay sober, you could do it, but you can't do it by yourself.
Okay.
Now, if you have somebody with you, if you have somebody you could fall back on and talk to, guess what? You can go to a crack house. You can go to the opium den and stay sober.
Okay. Well, And what is a sponsor? Because I always hear about sponsors, but I don't really know what they are. Or how do they become sponsors? What exactly do they do?
So there's a book. So Alcoholics Anonymous is based on they use a book called The Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. It's
Mhm.
a it's a textbook with stories in the back, and it shows you how to go through the steps.
Mhm.
12 steps. My brain's a little fried right now, so I can't go through them, but it's basically just
It's a lot.
basically you create a higher power, you give yourself over to it, you do an inventory, you talk about it with somebody else, and then you figure out all the shortcomings and character defects. Then you go out and make a list of people you harm, make amends to them,
Nice.
you do daily check-ins with yourself, prayer and meditation, and work with others. That's the simple version of it.
Hmm.
So sponsor is the one that takes you through that. So how to do that properly.
Okay, so they're with you through all those different steps.
Yeah, and you call them every day, you go to meetings with them, you have a fellowship, and sometimes they buy you dinner, sometimes they don't, whatever.
Mhm. And sometimes they go to events with you as well, like you
Yeah,
mentioned.
but like whatever. If you need to, like, it is what it is.
Okay, so they're like your support system.
100%.
Okay. Okay. Is it possible to make a person go to recovery if they don't want to? I sound like I'm repeating the questions over again.
No.
No, we can't take.
I mean, listen, there are certain indicators. I mean, if they're a minor and they need to go and they're high on thing, or they're elder and they have something, the power of attorney, or they're not in the right mindset to do it, then yes. But ultimately, even if they go and they don't want to go, it won't work.
Okay.
You
Okay.
just waste time and money, basically.
Okay. What triggers can a person avoid? And you already talked about the.
What triggers you can't avoid triggers, you just need to learn how to not pull them.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. And we've touched on this as well. Can a person overcome addiction by themselves? No. Okay.
Many are
I've heard that too, that we're tribal people. And ever since I heard that, I'm like, you know what? That makes sense.
yeah. Listen, the lone person out there, it's harder for them to eat. It's harder
Mm,
to live. It's harder to. I mean, I don't know nowadays maybe, but like me growing up, you can't build a family with just by yourself.
mhm,
You can't have you can't reproduce on your own.
mhm. Okay. And we talked about the insurance. So once again, if people are just tapping in, if they're just listening in on Facebook or YouTube, um, is can anyone come, or do they have to have certain types of insurance?
I mean, listen, there are places that do accept Medi-Cal
Mhm.
and lower end things, but most of the private places, like the place I work at, we would prefer you to come in with a PPO or better, depending on the policy.
Okay.
You know, just because we would love to scholarship everybody, but ultimately we can't.
Yeah, you got to
Yeah.
keep your business going. And Delia, if you have any more questions, you're free to ask.
No, I don't. But uh, I've always heard, well, when she said about, going to places and there's alcohol around and you go to barbecues and family and things. For me, when I first started being sober, I couldn't go to none of those.
Oh,
Now I can. So
okay.
it all depends, I think, on the individual,
Okay.
Yeah.
you know.
One thing I would just want to add to that is like if you have a purpose, like usually when our purpose was to go to the bar is to get fucked up, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Or whatever. But if you go there for the right reason, like your friends playing in a band, and that's your
Oh,
focus, you know.
Gotcha. Okay.
yeah.
Do the mentors at NoHo Recovery ever do activities at schools, like to recruit people or to let them know about your program?
They don't, but the place I went to, um, the place I went to rehab at Beit Tshuva, in
Culver City.
Culver City. Yeah.
Mhm.
They go out to different middle schools and talk to them about prevention.
Oh, wonderful.
And it's funny, my girlfriend's son is 13 and he goes to a private school in the valley.
Mhm.
And he came to me like, "Hey Ari, do you know what people from Bay Chuva?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do actually."
Uh-huh. Mhm.
So I like that. I've always, and this is in my community, the Jewish community, it's very hard. Like nobody recognizes addiction. They,
Mm.
Right.
and a lot of cultures also, it's very unacceptable. Like they don't know what addiction is. They just sweep it under the rug and just let it kind of go to the side.
Oh
You know,
no.
when I was in rehab, my dad was talking to his friend and he's like, "Oh, what's Ari up to?" He's like, "Oh, he's in rehab." He's like, "Oh, he's rehabbing buildings," like,
Oh no.
and I'm like, they don't know what it is, but like I remember on the Sabbath one time I had the rabbi from Beit Tshuva speak at the temple that my family goes to. And the rabbi from the temple wanted me to speak first. And my mom was like, "No, you can't. You can't. Nobody, I know like you're an addict." I'm like, "Mom, I gotta do it."
Okay.
And to this day, that was what, 13, 14 years ago.
Mhm.
To this day, people come talk to me. I'm like, "Hey, I need help with somebody."
Oh, that's amazing.
I wear my addiction on my sleeve. And
Wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, that helps free people and lets them to talk about it. Yeah, that's true. That's great. No, I'm glad that you went for it because a lot of people hide their issues
yeah,
and you were being transparent. So being transparent sets a lot of people free.
100%.
Um, how many people, how do most people learn about your program?
By word of mouth,
Word of mouth?
you know,
Okay. Okay.
primarily we go out and talk about it, but yeah, we primarily it's word of mouth. People know about us. Our website, we do website like SEO stuff and all that other stuff that gives me headaches. I'm old school.
Okay. I know I'm in the same boat as you. I'm like,
I'm old school. I'm like, knock on the door. Here's cookies and candies for the front desk. Let me
right.
call you back in a week and check back with you, you
Right.
know?
Yeah. Yeah. So like web SEO, okay. And
What's
word of mouth. Word of mouth is a great way to do it as well.
also like when I wear these shirts and I go, they're like, "Oh, it's NoHo Recovery."
Mm-hmm. That's
Um,
promotion.
Yes.
I want
Yes.
like I have. Hold on, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna
Okay.
be right back.
Go ahead. And I'm gonna check and see if anyone left any comments. If you guys are on Facebook, if you're watching, you guys are welcome to drop comments.
I want to move a button. Where do I go? Capture notes? Well, I don't know. I'm not touching anything.
So, so one thing at NoHo, what we do is we differentiate things, and we do. This is what we did at our studio. We made these shirts.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh wow.
nice.
When you show your shirt, say something or else it goes to whoever's talking.
Okay, so it's this is the Israeli flag.
Mhm.
So we had a thing where we did it for staff members on what identifies you.
Nice.
That's the one I got for me,
Mhm.
and this way, because my whole thing is I took a diversity class when I went to school
Mhm.
about diversity and addiction.
Okay.
I said to the teacher's like, "What do you think about diversity and addiction?" I'm like, "It's crap. It's
Mhm.
bullshit.
Mhm.
People are there to get healthy and better.
Mhm.
That's all that matters."
Mhm.
Because yeah, when you could relate to this. When you go to a meeting, I say I'm already alcoholic. Everybody else says their name and they're alcoholic. We all have the same last name.
Mhm. Oh, okay.
It doesn't matter who you are, what you're doing. I don't care. You
Gotcha.
want help.
So
So
that's the similarity there. Okay.
yeah. But we do things like, yeah.
Okay. Well,
Uh,
that's important too that you're Jewish because like you said, it's not really discussed or talked about in your community. So by you being transparent, like once again, you're helping a
yeah.
lot of people come forward that are probably
Yeah.
scared to.
Yeah. Whatever. Like I said, On my personal business card, not the one I gave you, but my one not from work is, it says, "What could I do to help?"
Okay.
That's all I say, you know.
Mhm.
I use that line a lot when like somebody loses a family member. I'm like, I don't sit there and talk to them. I'm like, whatever I could do to help, let me know.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
because
That's important because a lot of people, they don't know what to say or do when someone passed away. We're like, how can we make them feel better?
just let them be.
Okay.
Be there when they need when they need you.
Okay. How can one have lasting recovery?
You gotta stay in it. You gotta keep doing stuff. You gotta keep doing. You gotta stay connected.
Okay.
All about connection, really.
Okay.
If you don't do what you need to do, I had one of my exes when I was sober. She worked really hard doing her steps and this to get a job, and she was like secretary and doing all the stuff in therapy and all this stuff. The second she got a job, she stopped doing it. I'm like, why would you
Oh.
stop doing the value there?
Mm,
So the second you stop and become stagnant, addiction's right there. Addiction doesn't go away.
that's
I don't know
true.
if you can see behind me. There's all this a whole bunch of fucking addictions behind me saying, "I'm coming for you, Ari."
Oh, no, it's blurred in the background. I don't know if you know it's blurred.
No, it is blurred because my
Oh,
kitchen's a mess. So
oh, okay. Okay.
I didn't have time to do anything today. I went to go pick up my girlfriend at 9 o'clock in the morning at LAX. So,
Oh yeah, that's a long commute and there's a
yeah.
lot of traffic.
So
If you remained an addict, how do you think your life would be different?
I'd be dead.
Yeah.
There's no way about it. I would have.
Oh.
I would have. My liver would have been gone. My kidney would have failed earlier. I would have gotten in a DUI, gotten in an accident, killed somebody, been in jail.
Mm,
If I stayed on that path, I would have lost everything.
okay.
I would have lost everything.
Mm, yep. Um, if a person overcomes addiction, what will they gain?
Whatever they want.
Okay.
I tell my clients when they come in here, it says, "You guys came into an art gallery and you have a blank canvas. Paint whatever the fuck you want to paint on it."
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And one thing I heard that I use a lot also. There's three things you got to do in sobriety: shut the fuck up, dumb the fuck up, and man the fuck up.
Okay.
And
That
that's
makes
really it. Because our best
sense.
thinking,
Shut the fuck up, man up. And what was the third?
dumb the fuck up, man the fuck up, and shut the fuck up.
Okay.
I like that.
Numb them. Yeah, that makes sense too. Yeah, seriously, there's a lot of people who need to take heed to those words.
Exactly, because it's like, like our best thinking is when clients are like, "Oh, I think I could do this," I'm like, your best thinking got you arrested. Your best thinking ended you up in treatment.
Oh, I
Not,
like you're so real about it because a lot of people like tippy toe around subject. You're straight up.
I don't listen. Your best thinking got you here, and the bottom line is like, just do it. Just do what you got to do. You know what you got to do. Just do it.
Mhm.
Just-
Gotcha.
Just
people
do it.
call me. People say a lot of my clients say, "Are you're the nicest asshole I've ever met."
Ah, 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 ah.
Well, we love spending time with you, Ari Sussman. Thank you for spending so much time with us.
Pleasure. Listen, whatever you guys need, I'm always here. And if anybody has any questions or anything like that, you could more than please reach.
Love
I'm always here for you guys.
What we take our hats off to NoHo Recovery.
you.
Thank you for
Thank you.
all that you guys do. Thank you, Ari, for spending so much time with us and with every individual that you work with. I'm sure they appreciate all your effort and your time and your compassion and your
Yeah.
story.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. And it was a pleasure meeting both of you.
Thank
And
you.
maybe I'll
Thank
catch you on a ride back.
You
you.
might, you might, I might be over there. I'm over here by the airport, actually.
Okay.
Ah, ah, ah.
But you guys, if you guys are watching, I'm actually going to be live later on the Clapper app. I'll be probably making some cookies. So I'm on a different app already. It's called Clapper. So if you guys ever want to see me over there live making some pastries, that's where I'm at on
Ooh,
days from 5:30 to 7:30. So I'll be online again later, you guys.
All right.
Well, you guys have a nice
yeah,
evening. Grab some food, get some rest, spend some
I'm gonna
time with your loved ones, and thank you for showing up.
be Monday.
take care, guys.
All right,
Bye.
have a good one. See you guys later. Bye.